Hello cookies, it's Siri, I am back, and today I wanted to talk about how my German has greatly improved by playing Doraemon Story of Seasons. If you play the first one, you can also change the language and you can learn French, for example. I own both of the games. My favorite is Friends of the Great Kingdom. It's as beautiful and charming as the first one. The music is as relaxing, but it features a lot of life improvement. You can now get help from one of your friends in the game or in real life, and many things I thought were tedious in the first game have been improved. I love both of the games though and have hundreds of hours in both. This video is not sponsored by them or anything like that. First of all, let me talk about why it works. I used to be a French teacher for children and for adults, and my grandmother was also a French teacher. For both of us, learning by playing and having fun is a big part of our teaching process. And for me as well, when I was a student, the best teachers were always the teachers that made us laugh and linked what we were studying to something fun or something funny or something a bit quirky or unusual, and I know that it worked for me and I could tell it worked for my classmates. So I do believe that learning by having fun is really the best way of learning anything. The second reason it works is that you don't have the stress associated with learning a new language. Even for someone like me who absolutely adores learning new languages, and for me it's extremely fun, I still have a little bit of stress because I want to get fluent faster, I want to understand more people, I want to read more books, I want to pass certain exams. But when you just play a game for your own entertainment, you don't have that stress. Not having that stress makes the information come in easier. Another reason it works for me is that it boosts my confidence. Whenever I speak German with people, for example, today I was calling the customer service of this building because I haven't been able to sleep for a month since we moved here because the upstairs neighbor is loud constantly. He's always thumping. The vibrations are stressing me out so much. They trigger my childhood PTSD. And even saying that, I'm getting super stressed. We've tried multiple times to communicate and whatnot, and today I finally called the customer service. She does not speak English that well, so I told her that she could speak German while I could speak English to make things faster, and that worked so well, and I gained so much confidence for interacting with people. And the same thing happens in the game because there is a story in the game and the story progresses all the time, and I get this confidence of like, wow, I can actually make a story progress and understand a game without struggling too much. I guess my German is getting better. And finally, this might be quite personal and maybe you can relate, maybe you cannot relate. I tend to stress when it comes to relaxing. I always feel the need to be productive in some sense, to study or to work or to do something towards my future or my finances or my fitness level. And for me, relaxing feels like I'm slacking and being lazy, and so I feel immense guilt just relaxing. Playing the game has alleviated that stress because I also know that I'm playing, but even though I'm not extra focused, I'm probably learning something. It's impossible for me to have spent more than 50 hours playing in German and have absolutely nothing that got inside my head. Even if I'm not paying that much attention, there are probably many words that I learned. For example, now it comes to mind einholen, which is the action of pulling up the fish from the water. Because I fish so much in the game, I have not tried to memorize that word, I have not tried to learn that word, it's just that it's stuck because I'm doing it all the time. And knowing that I am still somewhat learning makes me more relaxed when playing because somewhat I'm still being productive, even though I'm not really being productive. On to why I believe this game is perfect for learning a new language. The first reason, I have my notes here, the broad range of topics addressed mimics everyday life and words that would be generally used often. So you see words and expressions in practice. If you have learned a language before, you know that at first you learn hello, good morning, how are you? And then you learn some vocabulary words like fruits and items in the house, and then you learn some easy verbs. And all of those things that I have seen in German A1, A2, B1 and B2 are actually in Doraemon's Story of Seasons. They don't come in a way that you have to learn the grammar, you have to learn the words, but they come naturally. It's literally everyday life that you get to experience from the moment you wake up in the game until you go to bed. And then when you wake up, you have breakfast, you can have dinner with the others, you can go to the store to buy things, you can go to the clinic, you can go to the restaurant, you can go fishing, you can capture insects. So basically you find all those vocabularies that you try to learn and memorize when you learn new languages in the game. Another reason is the gameplay itself, because it has some repetitive aspects, so that you see some words often and start recognizing them without really needing to learn them. So like fishing, anything related to farming or buying things. The fact that it's an easy farming game but with a story as well that you have to progress and multiple characters that are so different and interesting. You get different words, you get different ways of speaking. Some people speak a little bit more slang, like Doraemon, and some people speak a bit more seriously with fancier words. So you get all of those interactions. For example, a sentence that is super random that I remember is Ich hab einen, because Doraemon says that all the time whenever I ask him to fish with me. And in the grand scheme of things, Ich hab einen is not really that important, but because he says einen, I know that fish is der Fisch. And if you've ever learned German, you know that der, die, das is complicated. But because of Doraemon saying all the time, Ich hab einen, I know that it's der Fisch. So at least when it comes to fish, I will always have the right article before the word. One thing I really like as well is that the cutscenes show enough. So even if you don't understand every single word, you still understand the scene that is making the story progress. It's quite explicit and you see the scene unfold. And if you see that they're angry, if you see that something is broken, it's not rocket science to understand what is happening. And again, if you have learned languages at a school or even with some more advanced apps, sometimes they play you a short clip and there's a discussion, there's an interaction and the people are acting in it, sometimes more or less successfully. Even if you don't understand all the words, or even if you only understand half of the words, the story can still progress because you see what is happening. It doesn't have to stop your gaming experience unless you really want to check out the word in a dictionary. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. At the beginning, I wanted to check every single word and then I got tired of the game because it's annoying to have to stop and look and stop and look. Eventually, I realized that if I understood enough for the story to progress, there was no point in checking out every single word. And that's also one tip that they tell you when learning a new language. Don't get stuck on the single words you don't understand here and there. At the end of the day, if you understand the whole situation, the whole paragraph, the whole page, that means communication is achieved. That means you understood. You don't have to get stuck. And I'm guilty of that. I tend to get stuck because I want to understand every single thing that I'm reading. But with this, I'm more relaxed and I just let it happen. And I have never been stuck in a situation in Doraemon's Story of Seasons. Here, for example, you see Nobita saying, Suneo gyan, seht euch an, was ihr getan habt. Ihr habt die Suppe verschüttet. Also, I have a really strong French accent right now because I'm reading, so never mind that, cookies. When he said seht euch an, so seht an is a verb that is split in two, and if you've ever learned German, you know there are many verbs like that that are split in two, and I have problems with those because I think you just have to remember them all and remember how they are cut. When he says was ihr getan habt, I also usually have problems with the order of what goes where. So if I ever see a sentence like that, even though I would not know exactly why, if the habt is not at the end, I would probably realize that something is a bit off. And finally, he says, ihr habt die Suppe verschüttet. Now, I don't know what verschüttet means, but through the context of what is happening. I think it's something like spilled. I don't know exactly what verbrüht means, but with the context of the soup on his head, it's something that is something probably like burnt or hurt, because a soup can be hot and you can get burnt with a soup that is spilled on you, or you can get hurt because of the bowl itself or because maybe the soup got in your eyes. So it's definitely something negative. If you have other games like that you think would make a great way of learning German or learning Spanish or getting back to learning Chinese, because my Chinese has gone from being okay to I can still understand when people speak and when I hear some things, or if I watch Chinese shows, but I'm just so sad about it. So if you have tips on games that are not too difficult but not too easy, and that are not necessarily just to learn a language but help learning a language, let me know. I'm interested. And until next time, I will see you cookies very soon. Bye!